I'm back again, and this has all gone a little bit pear-shaped. I know I meant to have these videos kind of wrapped up really quickly by the end of May, and it is now June. So yeah, it is June, which means it's no longer Mental Health Awareness Month, but who cares? Who cares? We should be talking about mental health for more than just a month. We should be spreading awareness for as much as we can. So who cares that we've run over the month? Who cares? Who cares? My anxiety kind of cares, I have to admit. Oh, and my obsessive nature really cares a lot. Ironically, the reason that I am kind of running late, because I initially kind of thought that I would kind of bang out about 5 videos in about a week, which is completely, you know, I can do that. But if you've been following on my Instagram, you'll know that I'm struggling with my mental health at the moment. My mental health and my recovery kind of hit a huge bump, and I've kind of gone from, woo, I'm doing really well, to hating myself and hating life and hating recovery. And if you watched my kind of yay I'm back video, you would have seen that, well, you'd have watched that when I'm struggling with my mental health, I really struggle to make YouTube videos. I don't know what it is, I just do. But I am fighting the good fight because I really wanted to make these videos, and I did want to have them done by the end of May, but whatever, who cares, apart from me. Okay, it is Thursday, and today I am talking anorexia. I have had anorexia for 17 years now. I was diagnosed at 12, but was displaying symptoms long before my diagnosis, which obviously led to my diagnosis, and I'm turning 25 this year, next month actually, which leaves me feeling very old and pretty disenfranchised with the whole of the world, because 17 years is a long time to spend hating yourself and not actually knowing how to eat, abusing your body, not eating, starving, trying to learn how to eat, hating your body even more, gaining weight, losing weight, going up, down, side to side, and round, and not really knowing the answer. I fit the criteria for anorexia, like spot on, you know. I was a dancer, I was trained classically, I did ballet, tap, modern jazz, blah, blah, blah. I have a massively obsessive perfectionist personality, which leaves me needing to be the best at everything. I suffered chronic sexual abuse. The list goes on. But you know what? I don't know, and I refuse to pigeonhole my life and my diagnosis, and especially because it has taken up so much of my life. I'm not giving anything that power over me, especially not the dancing that I can no longer do, the stepfather that no longer even lives in this country, and people's comments about my weight and my future that literally don't matter. So I don't know why I'm anorexic, but I am, and that is the thing that matters. I have spent the majority of my time with this illness in what I call the grey area of recovery. For me, this is when I gain enough weight to be discharged from services, so my friends and family, don't worry, I'm still underweight, but I'm eating and I'm able to exercise and I'm able to live my life how I want it, for the most part. I eat, and I eat a varied diet, although it's still relatively restrictive. I exercise and generally don't have a very healthy relationship with exercise. It's still very compulsive and very obsessive. However, I don't dangerously exercise until I'm passing out. And I kind of exist in the normal end of underweight, where people don't worry and it's not shocking, and my blood results are fine and everybody's happy with me being underweight, but normally so. However, the anorexic thoughts are still there, and you go on these weird diets to lose weight, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and then if it doesn't work, it's really frustrating, and if it does, it's a really slippery slope that you have to claw yourself out of. The negativity, the bad self-image is still all there, but you're a lot more functional than when you're really unwell, I guess. As well as the grey area of recovery, I would maybe call it a functioning anorexic, although when I'm in that area of recovery, I most of the time don't feel anorexic anymore. I feel like I'm not there. I don't deserve that title, that badge of an anorexic anymore, because I'm eating and I'm healthier and people aren't worried, which is a very, very negative thought process for me to have, but it is one I have nonetheless. It is awful to watch my mother worry about me when I am relapsing. When I relapsed this year, I watched my mom in particular she was so anxious, and she tried to get me to eat, and she's very, very non-intrusive now. Like, she used to be really intrusive, and we used to have huge screaming arguments about binging, about purging, about money, about behaviours. Sometimes I would be purging and my mum would be banging on the bathroom door, and then I'd, come up, oh blah, and I would scream at her, and we'd be screaming at each other. Honestly, anorexia with other mental health issues, did turn me into a monster at one point, and I don't feel that's even an exaggeration. I was a monster at one point, and for a large part it was my eating disorder that did that. But now our relationship is very different, but I can see the worry in my family, especially when I relapse. And for the most part, I have been relapse free since 19, but this year just gone, when I did relapse, my family were really, really worried. And that is the one thing that anorexia has had a huge impact on. My family, they have watched me determinedly starve myself to death almost, and been completely powerless. And it's one of the disorders that I've found that I have that has the most power. It is so powerful. It completely blinds me to the reality of everything. I can't see that I'm losing weight. I have body dysmorphia as well, which I'm going to discuss in another video, but also here. But body dysmorphia and anorexia kind of go hand in hand, and kind of, but not all the time, but in my case and in lots of cases they definitely do. And when I relapse, my dysmorphia is so loud and so aggressive, and I completely cannot see the reality of what I look like at all. I can't see that I'm losing weight. I mean, the scale says I'm losing weight, but I can't see it when I look in the mirror. I can't see it, and everybody around me can. And my anorexia completely dictates everybody's life. Everybody tiptoes around me because they're scared of me having an outburst, or worse, a heart attack if I have an outburst, because I have health conditions that were probably caused by my anorexia, one of which being an arrhythmia, which then gets really, really bad when I relapse. And it's really dangerous, and so me, going completely nuts actually puts me in a lot of physical danger as well. As well as my arrhythmia, I also have osteoporosis, which is definitely caused by my anorexia, and I also have arthritis, which, although my mum has arthritis and she was diagnosed relatively young, it was definitely brought on a lot faster by my anorexia. For something that is a mental illness, anorexia has a massively physical effect on the body, and not just because you get thin, deathly thin. It rots your bones, it rots your teeth, it rots your mind, it eats at your muscles, and so if you're lucky, the muscle wastage will just be in your limbs, and when you gain weight, hopefully you will get the functionality of your limbs back. However, if you starve yourself, or you're unlucky, it will be your heart, it will be other muscles that you need them so badly, and anorexia eats away at literally every single part of you, your mind, body and soul. It completely took over my life, and I've been left with lasting damage because I abused my body because my mind told me to. So now is the part of the video that is the hard facts, the nitty gritty, the thing that is nothing to do with me. It is just facts about the illness, because my illness does not apply to everybody else. My recovery doesn't apply to everybody else. My behaviours, my thought processes, my body is not your body. My mind is not your mind, or your friend's mind, or your sister's mind, or your girlfriend's mind, whoever's mind. So we're going to go to the facts, to the bit of the video that is the what is anorexia anyway. Anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder where The aim of the sufferer is to keep their body weight as low as possible. Mostly they do this by restricting what they eat, so restricting their calories, avoiding certain food groups, and being very, very controlled and obsessive around food. Other things sufferers may do is vomit or obsessively exercise. Most commonly, anorexia is diagnosed in women and girls, and most commonly again, it is diagnosed in girls between the age of 16 and 17. However, there is massive stigma around men having anorexia, so a lot of men go untreated and undiagnosed. People with anorexia often go to great lengths to hide their disorder and hide their behaviours, but here are some signs and symptoms that you can look out for. Missing meals, eating very little and avoiding eating certain foods. Obsessively counting calories, leaving the table soon after they eat so they can go and vomit. Taking diet pills, appetite suppressants, laxative or diuretics. Repeatedly weighing themselves because your weight is everything. Seeing the number go down can completely dictate an anorexic's day. Obsessively exercising. Physical problems such as feeling lightheaded and dizzy, dry skin and hair loss, and of course weight loss. It's common for anorexia to also be associated with other psychological problems such as depression, anxiety and self-harm. It can also be associated with drug and alcohol misuse. People with anorexia often don't get help. The nature of the disorder is very secretive and very manipulative, so reaching out for help just opposes everything that the anorexic stands for. Once in treatment, it can take several years to fully recover, and many anorexics relapse multiple times along the way. Around half the people diagnosed with anorexia who receive treatment will have problems for the rest of their life regardless of the treatment that they receive. And around 10% of all anorexia sufferers will die because of the disorder. Despite being a relatively uncommon illness as it goes, anorexia is one of the leading causes of mental health related death, either through malnutrition or the rest through suicide. If you want to seek advice because you think somebody you know may be suffering from an eating disorder, you can check out the links down below. With eating disorders, everything can seem really doom and gloom, and I know it can feel really, really overwhelming to have one because I've had one for a long time. And I know that my story isn't really that inspiring, or it can't actually bring that much hope because 17 years is a long time to feel like shit, basically. But there is hope. People do recover, and even when you're in the grey area that I talk really negatively about because I've had enough of it, you can still live your life. Eating disorders don't need to beat you. Eating disorders feel like they are so powerful. They take away so much, your friends, your family, your social life, your school, your work, your body, your mind. They take so much, but you can take it back. And it doesn't take much. It just takes waking up one day and just having enough and deciding that whoever you need to talk to, whatever you need to do, you're going to do it. And you may not do it that day. You may not even do it that week, but having that thought in your mind, that thought is the first step to recovery. Whether the people you talk to are people online, people who are your friends, your teachers, colleagues, your family, or if you're massively brave, your GP, talking, holding yourself accountable and realising that this is fucked up and it doesn't have to stay that way. That's the first step to hopefully getting your life back. And the thing is that I have never claimed to recover fully from anorexia, apart from, my 1 year stint of recovery. But I have a wonderful life. And just because I haven't ever made it, it doesn't mean I'm not going to. But in the meantime, I have 2 amazing children. I am training to be a counsellor. I have a home and I have a family who love me. And even though I've existed predominantly in this grey area of not quite being okay and not quite being better, it is a hell of a lot better than being ill. It is so much better than where I was last year. And while I was in that grey area, I gained things like my children that make me fight every day. And so there is hope. Even when I feel that there isn't hope, there is definitely hope for all of us, even me.